Congratulations, you decided to start your marketing agency, but before you start to take in a ton of revenue, you need to do a couple of things first, and it's basically getting your business set up legally. So let's talk about everything that you're gonna wanna know about in this video. All right, welcome back and thank you for joining me. My name is Jordan Steen, also known as Serial Entrepreneur, and at this channel, we talk all about starting a marketing agency, building a brand, really just building any type of online business, which if you're interested in any of those topics, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell in the bottom right corner of this video so you get updated with all of our future updates, trainings, videos, free course giveaways, everything that we do here at my channel. Now guys, the cool thing about starting any type of business is you don't have to get all of the business operations and legal documentation and tax documentation set up immediately. But what I do recommend is as soon as you start to take in revenue, meaning as soon as you get that first check, you're gonna wanna go ahead and take care of a couple of things that we're gonna go through in this video. So stay tuned and we'll go through those really quickly. Oh, and by the way, make sure to stay tuned to the end of the video and we'll give you the step-by-step guide to getting more clients for your SMMA as well. Now guys, the reason why it is so important to get a business license is really for your own protection and your own benefit. You see, what happens is if you don't have a business license and you're doing everything through yourself, that means all of your personal assets now have become potential liabilities, meaning that if something were to ever go wrong, the government can and banks can actually go after your personal assets to make up for the losses incurred by another business, another customer, or any person that is potentially suing your business. So it's super important to have a business license, and again, it's mostly for protection, but it's also to help you get through all of the minutia that's involved with working inside of a government legal business. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the different business entities you're gonna wanna consider before you set yours up. All right, so there are 5 major types of businesses, and though this is for the US, a lot of other countries pretty much follow this same model as well. So you have S corporations, C corporations, partnerships, LLCs, and sole proprietorships. Now, S corporations are for smaller business entities, and really what you have to understand is the profit is passed straight through to the owners instead of shareholders. Okay, so if you're a smaller business and you're looking to set up a corporation, you're gonna wanna go with an S corporation more than likely. Now, C corporations are the other option, and that's for larger corporations or larger businesses that have actual shareholders to pass profit through. So if you're starting off just now, you're probably not gonna need to worry about a C Corp. If you're gonna do a corporation at all, you'll probably do an S Corp. The next is a partnership, and this is usually a business owned by more than one person. Now, this kind of gets into a gray area because you can actually have C Corps, S Corps, and LLCs that are partnerships. The difference is really for tax purposes, and if you're really concerned about it, you're gonna wanna ask your accountant. The fourth option is an LLC, and this is what most of you, in my opinion, should be selecting when you're first starting out. And this is because it takes most, if not all, of the actual liability that could potentially harm you as a business owner personally, and it takes it and puts that liability on the business instead. So it protects you and your personal assets a lot more effectively than any of the other options. Finally is the 5th option, which is a sole proprietorship. Now, this doesn't actually require you to do a business filing because you're running it through your own personal taxes. Now again, this means that all of the liability is actually gonna come back on you and your personal assets as well. So if you're comfortable with that, that's totally fine. But if you want to get started and all you wanna do is start collecting checks and running a business, all you need to do is basically just use your tax ID, otherwise known as your social security number. That's linked back to your personal taxes. So you'll use that instead of a tax ID and a business filing number. Now, if you guys are in the United States, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave a link for you right below this video in the description. I recommend checking out Incfile. It is the cheapest platform to get at least your federal filing in order. So if you're in the US, you do have to do a federal, which is with the entire US government, and then you have to do a state filing as well. So if you're looking to do your federal filing, I'd strongly recommend Incfile. It is the cheapest option out there. Basically, don't have to select any of the extra add-ons. You're just trying to pay for the federal license. They're gonna give you a registered agent for free for your first year, which that's an extra $100 saved right there. I definitely recommend checking out Incfile. The cost is also, it's like $125 to $160 depending on your state, compared to other platforms where it's like $200, $300. The next thing we're going to want to talk about is taxes. And guys, taxes are super easy, but I definitely recommend getting an accountant to help you with this. I'm not an accountant, so I'm going to give you general information on what you're going to want to know as a business owner. But when it comes to actually filing your taxes and making sure that you're getting the most out of your benefit, because you will get a lot of that money back at the end of the year, you're going to want to hire an accountant. Trust me, spend the $300 at the end of the year to get them to do your taxes for you, because you'll actually save more than that by having an accountant do it. So for your taxes, if you're in the US, you're going to want to go to the IRS's website and just find the tax identification number, TIN number, or EIN, employee identification number. You'll want to go to the IRS's website, search for that application, and fill it out yourself. It's free, and they'll email it to you within like 10 to 15 minutes. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go to a site like Incfile, and they're gonna charge you $100 to do something that takes literally 30 seconds yourself. If you're in any other country, for example, the UK, I know you guys have the VAT ID, you're gonna wanna make sure you go through the same process of going to whatever government tax website that you guys have and search for the required tax identification number that your government requires you to have. Okay guys, so the next thing we want to talk about really quickly is permits and licensing, which we pretty much talked about in the business license portion, where we were talking about setting up whether you were going to do a sole proprietorship, an LLC, a corporation. Just know that if you're in the US, you need your federal license, which is what you're gonna set up through Incfile. And then you also need your local level license, which is going to be a city license. So you'll go to the city courthouse near you and you'll just submit your local license there. That covers you actually for the entire state as well. Since most of you are going to be working from your home at the time that you actually start your agency, you're not going to go out and buy an office space. I hope not, at least. That would just be a huge waste of money. But since you're going to be starting it at your home, those are really the two licenses that you're going to need, just your federal license and your local license. Outside of that, if you do set up a business entity, then you're going to want to get your tax identification number, or EIN. It's referred to as those two things. Again, that's the one you're going to set up through the IRS website. But as far as licensing is concerned, that's really all you need. Just make sure that each year you're paying the refiling fees to keep that license active, that you keep your registered agent active, that you're filing all of your annual reports, and then you're pretty much good to go. But again, the biggest thing that I can suggest to you guys is getting some sort of counsel, getting a legal business attorney to actually help you through this process in the beginning. And then once you get a feel for it, it's something that you can easily manage yourself. Another thing that we're going to want to talk about is business insurance. Now, this isn't necessarily something you have to immediately go and get, but understand that if you don't have insurance, you're not always protected if someone sues your business for damage. If you were to accidentally somehow slander their name online, they actually have the opportunity, or really the ability, to sue your business. And this is something where business insurance actually comes into play, because if you do go to court and have to pay all these fees, your insurance can actually help with some of this. And again, I get it. You're like, well, we're just creating marketing campaigns, but you're also taking businesses' payment information and actually storing it somewhere within your business information. So this could be, you could be sending it via email, even though I suggest to not do that. You could actually do that. And if your email account gets hacked, that means that they just had their information stolen, but that leaves you liable for that. So just understand that at some point you will want to talk to an insurance agent about getting business insurance for your agency. Now, the last thing we want to talk about is getting a bank account. Now, if you're running the business through your own personal, you're running it through as a sole proprietorship, you can actually run everything through your own personal bank account. You just need to let your accountant know at the end of the year what personal expenses are versus business expenses, and what business revenue is versus maybe some form of personal revenue or another stream of revenue that you have coming in. That's really all you have to do. If you're running it through a business entity, if you created a business entity, an LLC or a corporation, you actually need to set up a business account for that business, okay? And what you really have to have is your tax identification number. That's why it's important to get that. You have to have your business license number, which is not complicated. And then you need to find a bank that you want to work with. And from here, you have a couple of options. You can go with a local bank, and local banks have their benefits, right? You have that more personal connection. It's easier a lot of the times to get loans with personal banks if that's something you want to do. or you can go the online banking route. This is the route I prefer because you actually, with most of the online banking companies, can get a free business checking account, meaning you won't actually have to pay the fees every single month associated with business checking accounts. A lot of these business checking accounts, if you go to a local bank, they're probably going to charge you a minimum fee if you don't have a minimum balance in that account. Where these online banking companies, though they may not have local branches and they don't have ATMs, the benefit is you don't have to pay these management fees or these basically stocking fees every single month. And even though you don't have an ATM, you can actually use all of the other ATMs, and they actually pay you those ATM fees back to your account. So I recommend looking at some online banking options where it's business checking completely online. Okay, so that would be my suggestion. Again, it's kind of up to you what you want to do, but those are really the two best routes for small local businesses. Now, lastly, there are the large national or international banks. One thing to know is, yes, you're going to get the best tech in the industry, meaning their mobile apps are going to be easier for you to use. They're going to be really just more fleshed out than some of the smaller banks, but know that they will probably charge all of those fees. They will have minimum balances, and it's just a little more hectic if you're a smaller business. So I recommend looking at the other two options to start and looking at a larger bank later on. Now, if you're wanting to know more information about what bank to choose, we've actually already put together a video on some of the banks that we recommend. Check out this video in the top right-hand corner and you'll figure it out. Now, the final thing that I want to mention to you guys about really being ready to go with your business legally and just financially is hire an accountant. Guys, it is not that much money, and they are actually going to save you more money than you think you're going to be able to save by not hiring one. And the reason why is because they understand the ins and outs of the tax system, meaning they know what you can deduct from your taxes and what you can't. This also then goes back to your bottom line, meaning if you write off more taxes, you save more money on your profit margin. So hire an accountant because you'll miss things that you didn't even know were possible, or you won't claim certain things that you just didn't know they were possible. So you're missing out on earned money. But that's it for this video. It's a quick and easy one. There's not a lot to it, guys. It's really super simple. Just make sure that wherever you are in the world, you're looking up and getting the right information about what you need for your business. But really, every business, no matter where you are, has pretty much the same structure that I just mentioned throughout this video. Oh, and since you stayed till the end, make sure to check out this video in the top right-hand corner on how to get more clients for your agency in 2019 and beyond. That's it for this one, and I will see you guys on the next one. Until then, Serial Entrepreneur out. Bye, guys.
Ready to start living the six-figure work wherever, be your own boss lifestyle? Well, at Serial Entrepreneur Academy, we'll teach you how to use a laptop and internet to start your own social media and digital marketing agency. Get started with our free Facebook ads training. Links in the description below, guys. See you in the course. Serial Entrepreneur out.